Guys, this is Turok, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing One Piece chapter 1187. And wow, this is a chapter that's setting up a lot of good stuff. It's it's exactly what I kind of thought it would be too. It's I'll look into it in a second. So this is in the last chapter we finished. Wait, did we see the rest? Did the flashback really end in the last chapter? Or was that like yeah. That was the very end of it. The flashback ended about halfway through the chapter. Brooke found out that, uh, well, he found out that Shuri is a celestial dragon. There was this relationship that happened secretly with Candle and this guy named what was his name? Manmayer Goru, and so they came to pick her up because she has those special eyes that she has. I forget what that condition's called. There's a word for it. I remember Tekking bringing it up, and the dual color eyes signify that she could have some special ability that family has carried and but rarely awakens to, and so she like they didn't elaborate the stuff here with her turning into Domi Reversi, but I think they did that to probably to like convince her to come because she probably refused that without before that, I bet. But as we were going over in the last chapter, I think this stuff really does tap into people's baser instincts for like power, glory, and greed and stuff like that. And that's why it doesn't affect stuff like Loki and Luffy. They're above all that kind of stuff. It can't work with them. Luffy just likes to eat, and Loki, he seems like he doesn't seem. He's just like I don't know how to say. But he doesn't seem like someone who cares about that kind of stuff either. He just is a. He wanted to go out and be an adventurer too, I guess essentially. So that kind of mentality where he doesn't care about really that kind of greed, glory, etc., lust and things like that, don't affect him. But say they used that on Shuri. They had him kill the king, her stepfather essentially, but her father for probably for just like I said, it was like a game to him, and to punish him just because they were pissed off that he made things hard. They probably asked him to hand her over. That's what she says. They said. I'm guessing they did say that, and so instead they just sent in the Marines under some pretense and destroyed this country. And this is extra sad too. I can't remember if I said this in the last chapter, but this is probably why it's extra sad in Brooks' first backstory we saw, which is the one that takes place after this. When he loses his crew, a lot of those people were probably all these other citizens here that left with him. So he left here. It reminds me a little bit what Loki did, which I brought up before. I wonder where Loki's his entourage of guards that left with him that didn't get killed by the King Herald. I wonder what happened to them after all we got was the base story that Shanks found Loki and defeated him in battle and brought him back to Elbath. So I was just wondering what did Loki do to make Shanks think he had to do that? But yeah, look back to Brooke. Brooks' crew were probably composed of a lot of people, comprised, right? Yeah, of a lot of people that were from here, and seeing them die like that really hurt because they were like the last of these other citizens that were the musicians that were his friends. There were other people that survived. They say there that a lot of them leave as refugees and go to other countries, I think, here. But yeah, he put that out of his mind and thought that this was that maybe he was the demonic stuff. I think he's what he means. He like understood his country fell. He says as much. Yeah, so that connection was really sad now to think about his comrades on that ship. Many of them, the other musicians, being so also being refugees that they left together with Brooke to eventually become pirates. Is that where so where's what's his name? Yorkie? Their captain. Is he from there too? I don't remember if they showed him playing music. I think he might have been from somewhere else, and he was starting out the crew, and then he just accepted Brooke and the other Asperia citizens, his buddies, together. I'm gonna look that up later, whether or not he became a. He was also from. No, he did say he's from the West Blue. Well, that was on the live action. Well, I wouldn't change it. The live action's usually correct in that. I remember in the live action, I was rewatching episode 2 a while back. and he says to Crocus that he's from uh, the West Blue. So they probably joined up under him to seek and started just ended up becoming known as pirates and traveling around. Cause they probably I don't know, maybe they didn't want to like find a new homeland. They just felt like they, with Asperia being gone, that it's better off to just like become wandering souls or something. So while that flashback finished up, we went back to the end. We got Loki and Emu are still fighting, and Luffy finally finished refueling with food to fight Emu. And while Loki is doing a pretty good job, I think again too, I don't think he's really using hockey, and that's part of his problem here too. Is I don't, I haven't seen him use what looks like hockey. Like he's got his I think his strength and having Ragnar is really what's helping him hold it up his own, but which is really impressive. But now it just makes me think too how scary he could be once if he starts learning how to use hockey, because he needs to learn, especially because his father had Conqueror's hockey. That means he should be able to develop it soon too. And then yeah, that would make the main difference here, because the thing we're seeing here is how Conqueror's hockey matters in defeating the powers, especially the ones endowed to the knights that Emu creates. So now I'm concerned, wondering, it's nothing too though. I brought this up before, but still bothering me again. It's like, does this Conqueror's hockey have a line with kind of like what the advanced armament is? Like, can other people use what I'm thinking about would be correct? I mean, only people with Conqueror's hockey could also use the advanced armament hockey, because maybe that's what aligns them together to create that stronger force that can hurt people like Big Mom, Kaido, etc. that have that really strong. And also, is that the reverse thing? Is there, because Kaido couldn't even be hurt by regular armament hockey attacks, and same with Big Mom. So it's like, is that Conqueror's hockey, their own internal hockey like that? How does that create a shield like that, or reinforce their skin and tissue and bone and all that to be so tough from the from other attacks like that? So yeah, the chapter ended here with Emu trying to say, "Oh, my winning over you guys is inevitable now." I really, his confidence here is really like annoying. It's like we went over this. I went over this in another chapter, like how he keeps thinking, "Oh, I'm better than everyone, and I'll eventually rule you all." And I want to see what that's about. If there's a backstory explaining why he is this superiority complex he's kind of got going, like, "Oh, I'll rule you all. You all." Like it's similar to it reminds me of Ganondorf in Zelda. I was replaying Ocarina of Time the other day, and and thinking about how, in correlation with this, how he's not satisfied just having the Triforce of power, because when he got that, the other two Triforce pieces go to Link and Zelda respectively, and they and he wants those things back. Now I was just thinking the other day with that. I was wondering with that on a side little tangent. I bet he couldn't gain them even if he wanted to. I think it's inevitable that someone like him can't possess them all. That there's no way for him to subjugate them to be his. Like even if he killed Zelda and Link somehow, the Triforcers probably just find new um, people to go to. I gotta look back though how that worked with Skyward Sword, because in there apparently that Link does somehow use all three pieces. But I was thinking for a moment that maybe even some of the Links or Zeldas also couldn't use all the Triforce. It's more like the Triforces are not meant to be used, and it's almost futile for someone like Ganondorf to seek them out. All right, sorry, I'm gonna stop that tangent. I should make a whole theory video on that, I guess, instead. So yeah, Loki's holding his own, but he got injured badly before. And we're going to see a little more of his power here today. So it's very interesting, this Omen stuff he keeps doing. So I'll get into the video now. I'm going to keep going on and on with this Dominion stuff. We'll get into here where they show that. But I want to go over the cover story briefly today, because this is actually kind of cute. It's a cover story, not a cover story. It's a reader's request thing that Oda gets these requests from some of the fans to draw certain things. Like I like the ones that showed some of the other villains, even though the other ones we don't want to have like shouldn't have sympathy that much for, but like they had Kuro and Doflamingo, and this one is showing Riju, and I forget she's the oldest sibling, right? Isn't Sanji and his brother the other four quintuplets or whatever you call it? Not triplet. And it's this one's request was like showing Sanji and the others, and as their father too, as ducks, and they're bullying the Sanji duck, and she comes to the rescue, and you can see they got the little bumps on their head. That's quite cute, showing she's like leave him alone. Oh, and he's supposed to be like the ugly duckling, right? That was just really cute, and oh yeah, I like too that he remembered to put the twirly eyebrow things on all the duck sons, Sanji and the brothers. Yeah, see, Judge doesn't have. Well, we never can see his eyebrows because he always wears a helmet, and the duck one here as well. So this was quite cute. So at the last chapter, we ended right here at where Luffy comes in and punches Emu right in the face, and this is like the first punch we actually saw him get. So Loki's been struggling to harm him. The only attack that his I think that worked was the his knee hog lightning attack did a little damage, but now I can see like Oda purposely waited to let Luffy be the one to get like a solid punch on him because it looks like I think Loki's lacking in a bit of speed here. Maybe it's also a combination, like I said, that he doesn't like seem to have hockey well refined, or I don't know if he have any at all. So he, it's like if the other guy's got, how am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that he can't no, not block attacks. It just seems like he's having a hard time getting any landing, any hits in, and Emu's able to see most of his attacks come, and he's slowly like wearing. I think Loki's being worn down even more than Emu is, even though it looked like Emu was struggling because he can't stay in on the lower realm well. Something's wrong here. Maybe the air isn't for him. Maybe he's allergic to something because he's been living up there in Marijwa for so long, and he had to have that cloak thing. He had some kind of veil on him. And now as we moved in, it's like maybe that's actually was protecting him while he was in Marijwa as well. There's a lot of questions there that's like there, but Oda's leaving some clear signs that there's something up there with how Emu has to exist. But yeah, he looks like he was slowly wearing Loki down. I really think Loki's just struggling because he doesn't have good hockey abilities to aid his strength. He's a naturally good warrior, gifted and experienced, trained warrior, and he's got a wonderful weapon here. You got Ragnar. I kind of want to get a model version of that weapon. If someone makes that, I'm putting that on like my Christmas list to get stuff like that someday. Cause I always like Mjolnir in especially the MCU version, but like the handle looks so short. I like it better when it's supposed to have when it has a long handle, which is Mjolnir in the original story is supposed to be like that, but it got Loki messed up. That Loki messed up the crafting when the dwarves were making it the Mjolnir, and it came with a short handle instead. I guess they can't like mold one on. Luffy comes in and gets a really good punch, so I wanted to have that merge it over here, and so we go to the first shot here is like Luffy hitting him there so hard, and he didn't even do it in any transformation either. Someone else pointed it out as well. I didn't really think about that. Like, oh, he just like Oda kind of did the same thing here he did when Luffy attacked Kizaru. He decided to start out cold turkey, like without transforming into Gear Second or the others, and did the same thing here. And it's funny. I just was rethinking this too as I reread this morning. Loki had this surprised face, but because he's got his eyes covered, I think this might be the first time. It's the only time I can remember, anyways, when somebody is so surprised like that their eyes aren't really popping out. And, well, I guess he never did that. I'm trying to think when Luffy first really go to hit on Doflamingo. At some point, I think he was showing Viola and Rebecca's reaction, and he didn't do that silly look with them. But I was thinking this looked interesting because like Loki's eyes are covered, so they can't really pop out. And but he did do that with Brooke when in Egghead, but his eyes, he really doesn't have eyes anymore. The physical flesh is gone, but he can still see. But they had him; he had eyes come out too. But so I was thinking, I would love to see how he would draw those, because Loki's eyes look very different. The the main part of the eye is not white; it's black instead, and it's got the irises are white or something. We saw it in the chapter where he was a baby, and he's covered them ever since. I wonder too, did Harold ever figure out that that's why what his eyes really looked like when he was alive? I wonder if he didn't understand yet the if he would have saw them, and if he did or whatever, did he understand the significance of them? He might have had some knowledge on, or if Yarrow ever sees them, if he understands, he almost certainly would. I'm sure someone must understand what that means that he has these eyes, because they already knew about ancient giants. There's Loki and a bunch of these other kids, and Harold. They're all grew these horns, but like he's the only one we know that ever that currently alive or in recent history of the Elf citizens to have these eyes. And I wonder if there's something that we'll find out about that in the post chapters of this arc. Anyways, Luffy punches him so hard he sends him away. And even though while he does, as he's flying away though, he recovers briefly. And this is where we see those the flames again. He sends two of them out, and he shoots them at. First he lands. I thought, yeah, it's him landing in the ground somewhere. Okay, I was thinking at first that was an explosion from those earlier. So he sends those flames at one for Luffy and one for Loki to take them out. And Loki says, "Oh, that was a pretty good shot, but it's only you only got a good hit because I put some damage on him." And it's like, who cares, Loki? Come on. And Luffy just, no, Luffy doesn't care like that. He just, at this point, he's taking it serious now. So I'm thinking if that was Law or Kid, he'd probably be a little upset by Loki saying that, someone saying that. But he's like, hey, just relax and step back. I can see that you're hurt. And Loki's just trying to brush it off. He's like, no, I'm not hurt. Who do you think you're talking to? Don't tell me that. So Luffy just like starts heading toward Emu, and then that flame thing lands on him, and then the other one jumps on Loki here, and Loki's like, suddenly they both see it, and we go to Loki first. No, actually no, we go to Luffy here first, and so Luffy's like, what is this thing? I can't get it off. It's like sticking to his cloak. And so then Emu comes back, and he's like, and Luffy's like, wait a minute, no, god damn it. Luffy's like, he's really scary up close. What is this thing? Oh wait, no, he sent two to Loki too, because it only showed two before, but one of them's on Luffy now. Maybe that happened because he got the when he punched there's two there, but then one ends up with Luffy, but two of them end up go on Loki. And then, this is actually a little cute. They're talking to each other like, hey, where did Emu say we have to go? Oh yeah, we're supposed to go to this chest where he got injured before. Oh, they're like spreading, and then they keep getting on Loki, and he can't get them off. And so Emu pulls out that thing again. That aiming. He did this earlier, and it looks like what he's doing here is he took those flames that are spreading on Loki are becoming like a homing device. I think that's how I'm interpreting it. And so he summons a flame in his hand again. He goes, a blade of hatred stigma, and it shoots a blade thing again like he did earlier, the same one, right at he was conjuring a flame before, right? He didn't know, he had a staff before and he did it, right? Hold on. So before he did this, he has I keep forgetting, he has a staff like a bicento, and the flame sword thing conjured out like a piston and went and stabbed Loki earlier, and it was called Blade of Judgment Nemesis, and now he's using a different one. Is that what he's doing? He's conjuring up other god names, right? That's what I heard he's doing with that. So Nemesis, oh, which one is Nemesis again? Is that like the god of revenge? I gotta look that one up. I know that's a Greek god. A lot of people probably recognize the name because it's like it's the name of that one boss in Resident Evil 3, but I believe it's a Greek god. So now he does this one, Blade of Hatred Stigma, and yeah, it looks similar, and it has like a guard come up. It's also he shoots a flame thing again. This time it just looks like he's not drawing out of the his staff. He just shoots it from his hand. Maybe the anime will show that better. And it strikes Loki and flings him back. It looks like it put a hole through him, actually, a bigger hole. Holy shit, yeah. So it fires back, it fires him away. So we switch to the other Straw Hats who are trying to free Shuri from the ice block that Loki put her in when she was possessed by Emu earlier, and they're unable to do anything to it. So Loki said as much earlier, like no one's gonna be able to break that, and this is proven to be correct as far as with these Straw Hats' strength. And they're also like you've got Brooke here. He's been trying his best, and he's like getting worked up and out of breath from doing it. And Frankie and the others are like, is this not even ice? Is it like diamond? And it's like, and she's just like sitting there. It looks like he really did like kind of like they're where like she's suffocating, but it does look like she's still fine. Loki didn't say that anyone would die in there. It's like he must have used this at one time on somebody else. Oh yeah, he's been out at sea. He had time. I was thinking for a second, when did he have time to test this stuff? Because this seemed to come something that Ragnar can conjure up. So they're like thinking, oh, it's really is it diamond? And then Brooke's touching it. It's like, wait, who's saying dummy? Okay, it's just like the others are touching it. And like it seems like it's ice, but it's like it's kind of it's cold. Diamond, but it's cold, and so they're just like Nico's. Nami just is like, okay, let me just touch it. Like, no, you guys aren't really human. Enough of the non-human. You guys can't tell. Of course, it's probably ice. I guess that's what they're saying. I'm a little confused with that scene. I guess that's supposed to be a comedic thing because they're like it's Brooke and Frankie touching it. But luckily for them, Loki, the blowback from the attack for Loki got sent him right back to where they are, and he whacks into the ice block holding Shuri, stops his fall, and he sits there. He starts sliding down into the trees, and then Ragnar starts coming down. Wait a minute, let's go like that. And luckily it looks like what happens here is it touches the ice block, and so first the others they ran off away from the ice blocks. So it didn't topple on them or anything, and then they run over and look and see, oh, what happened to him? It looks like he's bleeding and got a big hole in his chest. And then Ragnar transforms back into his squirrel form, and he jumps over, I think, to check on Loki. But while that's happening, fortunately, if I'm right, yeah, because it looked like it touched there. He by touching it again, he dispelled the ice thing, and it just starts instantly melting. And Brooke is like, "Oh wait, look, I see it melting," and then he runs over to try and catch Shuri. And I think that's the last we're going to see that here. Yeah. So now we go to Luffy, and he's like on a treetop, and he's still trying to get that fire off of him. And so then Loki, Emu's preparing to fire another attack. Oh yeah, you can see how it shoots out right there. Yeah. Cause I kept thinking about how he had the Bicento with the flame on it earlier, but no, it's firing out of his hand, and it does seem to be something direct with the homing. So Luffy, just because he can't get it off, it's luckily just sitting on his cloak, and you can see it's like he's trying to pull on it here, and it's like laughing at him, like, haha, I'll never come off. And so he just like throws the whole cloak away too, which he probably was going to do anyways. And so as this is Loki starting to fire it, and Luffy throws away it, so it follows and shoots the where the cloak is flying through the air, and then he starts jumping on his trees to head and continue this fight. But we're gonna go away from that for about a moment, and like so now we're setting up here. Like I thought earlier, that I had a feeling we weren't gonna see too much more of the fight with Luffy yet. He's setting up Zoro and Sanji here. He likes to do this a lot, and then so we're probably going to have the next few chapters or more be Sanji and Zoro's fight first before we get to the main event with Luffy and Emu. I really wanted to see him fight him more, but I forget. This is the way he usually does it. He like sets up the main event, but he goes back to the fights that are of the others beforehand. So now we are here at the where's this? The Western, yeah, the port at the Western Village. This is where Summers has got another boat ready, and Killingham is bringing the kids over so they can continue their plan. And oh yeah, they still call him Zolo in here. I forget that they do that. Why don't they just say Zoro? They say Zoro in the anime, even in the translations. Not the translations, the dub and the sub both do it. I'm really surprised they haven't just started saying Zoro in the manga. And so Zoro comes up and he's like, "Ah, there you are. You're one of those demons here that have been causing all this problem." And Summers just kind of looks at him like, "Oh yeah, you were that guy in the village earlier. What do you want? You get out of here. I don't want to hurt you. I'm just trying to carry out my plan." And Zoro's like, "You ruined all that our party. I can't forgive you for that." And he's like, "Ah, whatever. It's just 10 or 20 kids. Who cares?" Um, and yeah, Summers keeps going on. "Well, my companion will bringing the brats over. We'll leave. We'll be out of here, and you can resume your party." And then Zoro's like, "Ah, well, my friend of mine just went over there to intercept that guy of yours, so I guess he won't be coming back." And Summers looks at him like, "Oh yeah, why is that?" And Zoro like this, and this is like fun because like a rare compliment to Sanji. He's like, "Oh, because your friend will be dead." And so then Summers uses his uh, rose whip and fires it out at Zoro, and he. This is funny though because now Zoro just fought King a while back, and he had to deal with the same thing, similar things as King had that weird sword like that, and that could bring out serrated edges. And so Zoro brings out, yeah, he's got Enma and Kitetsu, and he blocks this attack and jumps aside as it hits him. And Summers is like, "Ha! You have any idea who you're dealing with? And how on top of our game we are now?" So like, I think he's referencing how the Omen, they're even more dangerous. And that's right. Where was Zoro? Oh, Zoro's on top of the ship stern. Okay. And so now we go to the Sanji part, and this is like the part of the focus here too. Is we're gonna get some stuff here covering something with Sanji's. I think we're gonna get some growth here of Sanji, something that's still bothering him, considering his hesitations over being the stuff that Judge did to him and his brothers is starting to manifest, and he was slowly starting to realize it back in Wano too, and was concerned about it. So we'll get to that here. So it seems like to be self-doubt. So let's see who's saying that. So yeah, is that the narrator? Over the western world pouring down. So yeah, we get a good look here though of the village with the clouds hanging over. So that this is interesting too. So this thing is like a manifestation that Killingham can create, but it is producing actual water. It appears that's just flooding everywhere. So it is a wet. Yeah. I wonder if that's something he could do if he wanted to create some other kind of elemental entity or god that can produce lightning or fire. Would he be able to create things that can self? They're not fully have agency of their own. There was a question that Summers was asking Killingham, how can you control something that powerful that created from your own fear? And he wasn't sure at first. So we go to Sanji though, and he's like, okay, he's assessing the situation. It's like, all right, problem one. There's an enormous creature that's bigger than any of the giants trying to take away the children. The problem is, and then he's like, okay, problem two, he's going over like this is unacceptable. All these mothers and their children they're fighting their damnedest to try to save them, and so that's fueling him. But then he's saying, unfortunately, this creature also is a woman, and I can't kick her. So this is his red. added note, and then he's like, added note, the Giants are refusing to give up. So, yeah, so we go back here and we're seeing the Ripley, and she's injured too, by the way, from trying to get the children back, or Colin back specifically, and then uh, what's his name's Thorns, Summer's Thorns were harming her, so she's all bandaged up, but she hasn't healed. Uh, Yeah. So he's like, I can't handle seeing these women get scream like this, but I can't. So I have to figure out a way to defeat this thing since I can't fight it directly. So, because then he says, okay, I'll just fight the. And then all I was saying, he's like, I won't take part in this fight because even if I defeat it, I think he's just assuming I gotta defeat the cause of it. So then we go to a shot where he engages with Killingham, who's still there somewhere. uh, he says, the Giants may not be able to keep up with you, but I won't let you escape me. And so Killingham, he's in his hybrid form here, where he's like a horse, and of course, like while his face, he's keeping his human form. Because earlier, when that like his hybrid form earlier too, he was in a form earlier where he was like a bipedal dragon. Now he's in this one that he's been using since. And when did he start doing that? So, anyways, he started doing it when they. I don't know, I forget now. After they start fighting him, he changed here suddenly on us. Uh, and so Sanji faces it like, I'm gonna put you down and put a stop to this mayhem. And so then the other Killingham says to him like, you're a fool. There's an entire world difference between toughness and immortality. You're not dealing, like he's trying to say, you're not dealing with your average enemy that can just be, who's really tough and can be defeated. We can just regenerate and never like be stopped, which is something we'll probably find out here. It'll be interesting to see. We saw that weird metal thing that the other doctor, Gerd, was looking at when she was examining Summers. And so Killingham says, "Okay, you think you can stop a god of rain? Go ahead and try it." And Sanji's like, you don't scare me like that. I know your weakness now. And so Killingham's like, that's funny. I'm not sure. Are you claiming then that you know how to use Conqueror's Hockey? And then he summons what's he doing with it? He uses his thing to try to stab where Sanji was just sitting on that, what was he, on that roof? So this is where the crux of that is. So far, Sanji has not shown anything to show that he has Conqueror's Hockey, but he was asking Scopper a while back, hey, do you think I have Conqueror's Hockey? Because it was kind of a silly moment. So Scopper was advising Luffy and the others, like, you got to use Conqueror's Hockey to really hurt the God's Knights. And Sanji was kind of offended because Scopper recognized right away that Luffy and Zoro have it. He's like, hey, what about me? I think this scene, especially if I remember the scene right, he was mad because it's like, if Zoro has it, why can't I? I don't want to be beneath him. The rivalry there has really been fueling. It seems to really. I don't think Zoro is as perturbed by it. He's just annoyed by Sanji personally. But Sanji, the way I'm interpreting their relationship, he always really feels like he has to be better than Zoro because he just doesn't like him. He's just kind of annoying the way that he acts like that sometimes. But and it really bothered him, for example, because for a while he had a higher bounty than Zoro. But after Wano, Zoro's went above his again by, I forget, like 100 million or so difference, something like that. And so, but Scopper was saying, I think you have potential for it, but so we do the flashback here of it. For some reason, you have this streak of, wait. So I was just looking up to make sure I understood this thing. So yeah, someone else, I get a good Google search. I try not to get too many spoilers. I want to see some people's theories on this, but this does seem to be something where they're saying he's got these mental barriers that are preventing him from doing this, achieving his Conqueror's Hockey. And I'm wondering if this has to do again with his trauma with King and what King did to him to make him these experiments that he did to try to make them more than human. And I'm hoping that what comes of this is like Sanji will accept those abilities. So Sanji's been trying to tear off that stuff. He wants to, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? He wants to separate and shed that stuff that connects him to um, the judge and that and his Vinsmoke heritage. But I think he's gonna have to come to terms that that can't happen. And two, I should utilize his power and just make it my own to do good things. Kind of like a. It reminds me of like how when some people make a bad mistake and they like, okay, I used that lesson, what I did wrong, and I won't let that happen again. Like it reminds me of Spider-Man a little bit. Spider-Man, he Peter Parker, he started using his powers to try for personal gain or to impress Mary Jane or stuff like that. That was like in the movie version. And then his actions, his when he was being that guy didn't give him all the money. He in the movie version again, he lets that guy escape, that criminal that comes later, and then but that criminal kills uh ends up killing Uncle Ben, and well, there was just something else for that. But anyways, he's like, I will only use my powers for good from now on. And I think Sanji has to have that moment, and that will probably help him here too with his ability to unlock more of his hockey powers. Because his like observation hockey we've seen is always already good. It might be the best. It's hard to say with him and Luffy. They both really Luffy learned how to do it really well when he was fighting Katakuri. But like even Sanji, he actually avoided an attack. Sanji Katakuri tried to kill him when Pudding didn't at the wedding altar, and he dodged that jelly bean attack. So he's hockey, and he was the one that woke up. He was like probably maybe he wasn't even sleeping fully yet, but he woke up feeling Luffy's transformation. So anyways, his observation is really good. So now it's like his conquerors has to awaken, and this will like be his power up. This is probably gonna be one of his final power ups. Maybe later though we'll see more. I'm sure Oda's gonna think of something clever to produce the what's happening with uh his changes that's coming from this like weird invulnerability that a thing that happened when he so like in Wano someone attacked him and he his neck was all twisted or something, and he was able to fix it, and then that's what Queen was presenting to him or telling him like, oh, I see you were a success from Judge, and he kept wanting him to he kept trying to push Sanji to do more and more of trying to unlock Sanji's abilities. He pulled the Cell thing. Cell was fighting Gohan, and he's thinking, oh, show me more of that power. I want to see. And it's like he kept thinking that he couldn't be defeated, and Queen made the same mistake. So I can't wait to see what that is. Also, I like the parallel. I was just realizing too that there seems to be between Sanji and how Sanji and his brothers are compared to what God's Knight's abilities. And I'm wondering if that's a parallel that Oda's doing, where Judge is inadvertently did something to them that is similar to how Emu here can endow the God's Knights with abilities, and that'll be interesting later to see if Emu makes that connection too, if he ever sees what Sanji can do, or Sanji brings it up maybe too, like, oh, these God's Knights, they remind me of what my dad did. Like they may have, maybe Sanji will have to go to his dad and get advisement on that. Like what did you do, and how can we defeat something like that? But I mean, the Conqueror's hockey is how they beat them back. So maybe there'll be something there's probably going to go. Well, actually, if we see that thing that small in Gert's hand, I wonder if maybe they can retrieve one of those. They can have Judge look at that and figure out what that thing does. So, anyways, we get to the last pit here, and Luffy's decided to transform right into Gear 5. He knows he can't mess around because he's been saying before, I can tell this guy's very dangerous. So, like when he fought Kizaru, for example, he did try Snake Man first, and then he realized that he messed up there, and it got blown away really easily. And then he had to come back as Gear 5. And this time he did jump in and catch Emu off guard in his base form, but now he's like, no, I'm not messing around. He's getting better with this. He kind of did this stuff too with Doflamingo before, where he was using gear second, and it wasn't enough to stop the fight Doflamingo, and so he had to go to gear four, his bounce man one, and then he was powerful enough. So he's like, it looks like he's slowly getting better and realizing I can't mess around with some of these enemies. Like maybe he's gonna trust his observation haki, because it does seem to be there's a level here of like similar to Dragon Ball where uh, Oda's including this stuff where people with good observation haki can sense others' haki as long as they're not hiding it. It looks like they can hide it, just like in Dragon Ball 2. Uh, Gunko was telling Shamrock earlier, "Hey, hide your presence so they don't notice you." But they unfortunately, like Scopper already caught on to it because his hockey's that good. And so, anyways, yeah, Luffy's now definitely learning like, hey, I can't mess around anymore with these some of these bad guys. I gotta. So he's quickly gotten into that form. Anyways, and so then Emu says, looks at him again, and he's not seeing them for the person he is. He references them. Oh, there you are, Joy Boy, and Luffy's like, stop doing that stuff. I'm sick of people calling me different names. Or you two, I'm me. This is his like he's done this before. Like who am I? What did that do? Oh, Kaido did that too. Asked him like, who are you? And like Kaido too was catching on there was something different. Just like and so Emu obviously knows that what it is, and Luffy doesn't. Then his introduction and we end right there. Like I'm the man who'll be the king of the pirates. I'm not some of these other people, and I can't wait for the next chapter to see what Emu says about that. I'm wondering if Emu will have any like the king of the pirates thing. I'm wondering how much when Rogers was alive and his exploits were getting better and he was traversing the world and then found Raftel, what Emu thought of that and what it means to if this title like that Luffy's gonna gain and what it relates to Roger, what he knows about that or is thinks about it too. And yeah, what was I saying? Oh, about Eneru. Yeah, it's very interesting here. I was bringing up Eneru a moment ago. I'm wondering what Oda's gonna go with. I know. I wonder. I like how Oda is first making that parallel where he was able to use different powers. Eneru had a Logia, and because none of his adversaries that he had faced up there knew how to use Conqueror's well, no, I guess that could work too. But Armament Haki, he seemed invulnerable. You can't. None of those. If you don't have some kind of haki like that, and that's one way that makes him think he's invulnerable. Everyone up there pretty much knew how to use observation haki, but there was no armor haki whatsoever in that community that he controlled. And then there was like Luffy, who's got rubber ability, so that nullifies electricity. So then, and it was finally defeated. But like I want to go with the superiority complex he created, and how now Emu's the same way. And Enru thought he could like rule everyone, and I think that's what was his plan. He was gonna do something with that ship, and now it's just funny that Emu's basically done all that stuff. He seems also invulnerable. He's got unique power. He's got the same superiority complex, and he's basically does control the world. And this reminds me again of how Oda does that a lot, where he creates characters with parallels and like, but one might seem more successful than the other. So what I'm getting at, yeah, going off everywhere. Crocodile and Doflamingo. This reminds me of two. Doflamingo successfully took over Dressrosa 10 years ago and ruled it for all that time until recently. So 10 years. And then Crocodile was working on a plan to try to take over Alabasta, and he nearly succeeded. His plan was a long running one. Like Doflamingo may have been planning that for a long time too, to do that too. Go back and get his birthright, since he can go back to Rijwa. But Crocodile was planning for a long time to take over Alabasta, but didn't quite succeed. So it's kind of like Doflamingo, Emu, Crocodile, no, Doflamingo and Emu, Crocodile, and Eneru. And so I like the parallels here where Luffy keeps going up against these guys who consider themselves way better. So Doflamingo has to come up in that conversation too. First there's Eneru, then there's Doflamingo, who's a celestial dragon, and now he's got another celestial dragon, the celestial dragon, the king of them all. And he's like, these guys keep saying, "Oh, I'm better than you. You're just a filthy lower being," or whatever other slurs and things they've used there. And so Luffy's got to like put them down each time. yeah. Luffy, Doflamingo had that thing like, oh, you and other humans are not are way different than me, or something like that was a translation when Luffy was preparing his King Kong gun, and Emu's been doing the same stuff, and it's just very, it'll be very interesting again to see what this stems from with him, because Doflamingo's just was like his superior, the celestial dragon thing in general. Although there's still question. He said he knew something about the being up there. Something he had some leverage, some information or something, and I wonder if it's related to Emu. Which is why they gave him the warlord title and kept their hands off him. And kind of was trying to poke around to the God's Knights, not the God's Knights, the Gorosei after the fall, and it's like, okay, why are you guys giving this leeway to Doflamingo? And they weren't going to answer him, but Oda, yeah, Oda hinted it to us through Doflamingo's conversation with uh, Law back then. But anyways, Emu. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Doflamingo's thing was about the celestial dragon stuff in general. It seemed, but also maybe there was that leverage he knew, that he knew something that he thought he could surpass. Maybe he thought he was gonna be able to take over, usurp Emu someday. It's like he obviously, it looked like was waiting to take out the other emperors by just maybe outlasting them. He knew he couldn't beat any of them in strength. He didn't have the same. His level was great, but theirs is just like the superior, especially we knew at the time, or figured, I guess, Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks, and Blackbeard. Whereas is Blackbeard still like an unknown? We know he's really strong, but like his ability is also really giving him something. But yeah, so Doflamingo was gonna just look like he wanted to get Law to give him the immortality surgery. That way he could just live as long as he needed to defeat the emperors. Maybe find the One Piece, and maybe he was planning at that point then to go up and usurp the Marijois. I think that was part, loosely speaking, Law's Doflamingo's plan for his power ascension. He I think knew something up here about this, and yeah, it's again, but okay, the superiority complex. Yeah, what is it with Emu that he thinks he deserves to rule over people? I think this is going to be something a little different. Well, it's again, it's the most obvious thing. I think is he looks like he's a Lunarian. Maybe he's a different type too. His hair looks different. I wonder if he's like a different, if there's like subspecies, because we got the different types of Skypeans, and the other ones they got some different wings, I think, and they're different little versions. And I'm thinking it's going to be something like that with Emu, because he got the horns. I'm thinking the horns. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe because he was bigger than, he looks even taller. He could be even taller than King. I wonder if he's like a Lunarian with an ancient giant, because he got these horns that are kind of similar to Loki's. So maybe he just thinks he's like a perfect hybrid of some of the most powerful beasts races to walk the earth, and that like and other people need to be controlled or shepherded and stuff. So that that could be part of it too, I suspect. And so it's like, is that something where that was fed to him by his parents or some other mentors? Like, okay, we're clearly better. They deserve to be ruled. It sounds, if it is like that, it'd be kind of like remind me of Frieza, where like, well, I'm so much stronger than everyone else, and so like the strong should control the weak kind of thing. I'm thinking it's going to be kind of like that. But I'm hoping there's like a little more depth to it. I'm very interested in seeing a deeper version of this, where it's like they he just really thinks it's he's God, I guess. It's something like that. Anyways, this was a great chapter. I suspect, yeah, we'll get more fights from Zoro and Sanji a bit in the next one. I'm especially excited to see if Zoro can use Conqueror's Haki and just like break that sword thing that Summers has. Because he always seems to have a little bit of trouble with that. I was really thinking he should have been able to defeat. Did he, when he killed when he took out King? Did he destroy the sword finally? I know he was having trouble initially, and he was trying to be careful. He was worried because that King had that weird, the sword would like retract or do something, and he was worried it was gonna hurt Enma or Kitetsu. It's like he said at one point, don't you dare break these precious swords of mine, or something like that. And I'm hoping like it Haki getting stronger, he can like not have to be so concerned about that. Like every time he can, we've seen how he can infuse hockey in that, and it would be great to see him be able to like get better that way. I would love to see what his swords could do against a weapon like this too, and considering he can hockey him, and it didn't. I don't think Loki was hockeying him. I think it's just the durability of Ragnar itself was putting up the fight of a character. I have a feeling that Ragnar is definitely going to be considered one of the 12 supreme weapons. Maybe we got to just say supreme weapons now. We got most of all the ones we've seen so far are swords. Well, the Whitebeard's is technically still a bladed weapon, but uh, the others, yeah, Fujitoro's, White Rogers, and Mihawk's are swords, and then also the one that the Gorosei guy has. But I feel like we got it. And the question then we had before is like the same thing with Kaido's Bicento. Could that be considered that same level? I'm sure Ragnar is going to be that, and that's maybe this weapon here that Emu has is as well. We got to start making a list of these alternate weapons like that. So yeah, the great chapter. I can't wait to see what's going to become of this. There's just all the stuff I just said. I'm curious what the conversation will be here. The stuff with Sanji is especially going to be interesting. I want to see Sanji grow as a character in that way. His growth, his power upgrade is probably going to be the most unique one here because he's very interesting. How Oda's putting different abilities like that. He's using science. He's got Luffy's like a god. Zoro's got the swords and unique hockey stuff. He's uh, uh, stuff with the Enma is making it very interesting with these among these three and what he's producing, how he's produced variety here among our heroes. So, anyways, I'm gonna end this video here. Thanks for watching.